Hey guys, how's it going? It is I, the real Randy Chavez. I'm coming at you today with a pretty interesting video. This is as per NPR. The article says scientists create early embryos that are part human, part monkey. Ooh. So, for those of you that don't know, I thoroughly enjoy almost all of the Planet of the Apes movies. Yes, even the Mark Wahlberg one, even the bad ones. I love them all. They're all great. They're all cool. And I started back in the 1940s. Or I wasn't studying the 1940s, I wasn't alive then. But Russia, some of their scientists were directed to try to make a ape-human hybrid. And out of I don't know how many dozens or hundreds of attempts, I think one pregnancy took, and then the miscarriage very early in the pregnancy. So nothing ever happened. Nothing ever came of it. And again, this was about 80 years ago, give or take. But now, on April 15th, the Ides of April, 2021, NPR reports, for the first time, scientists have created embryos that are a mix of human and monkey cells, not the ape gorilla ones that they had they tried to do it in Russia. The embryos described Thursday in the journal Cell, were created in part to try to find new ways to produce organs for people who need transplants, said the international team of scientists who collaborated in the work. But the research raises a variety of concerns. My first question is why, said Kirsten Matthews, a fellow for science and technology at Rice University Baker Institute. She says, quote, "I think the public is going to be concerned, and I am as well, that we're just kind of pushing forward with science without having a proper conversation about what we should or should not do," end quote. To go move on in the article, still the scientists who conducted the research and some other bioethicists defended the experiment, said that this is one of the major problems in medicine, organ transplantation. For anyone that has been on the waiting list, it's so much harder to get up on the list than it is to get bumped back down. That just, emergencies take precedent. And Laboratory of the Salk Institute for Biological Sciences in La Jolla, California, and co-author of the cell study, says the demand for that is much higher than the supply, meaning a lot of people need organs and there's just not enough to go around. I think since the 90s they've tried doing it with sheeps and pigs, where they would inject human cells into pig fetuses, and because the DNA is similar, when the pigs grow up, their hearts and some of their organs are compatible with human organs, because it's not legal to sell human organs. That is illegal. But to sell animal organs, it's not. So, loophole. Moving on the article, I don't see this type of research being ethically problematic, said In So Hyun, a bioethicist at Case Western Reserve University and Harvard University. It's aimed at lofty humanitarian goals. Wow, that's impressive. Thousands of people die every year in the United States waiting for an organ transplant, Hyun noted. So, in recent years, some researchers in the U.S. and beyond have been injecting human stem cells into sheep and pig embryos. That's just what I said. To see if they might eventually grow human organs in such animals for transplantation. So far, apparently, the approach hasn't worked, even though I'm pretty sure I've read that it has, but I don't have a link for it, so we'll trust this article. It's NPR. So, Belmont teamed up with scientists in China and elsewhere to try something different. The researchers injected 25 cells known as induced pluripotent stem cells from humans, commonly called iPS cells, that's India, Papa, Sierra, into embryos from macaque monkeys. Okay, they're much more closely genetically related to humans than are sheep and pigs, and as are the gorillas that the Russian scientists tried in the 40s. After one day, the researchers reported they were able to detect human cells growing in 132 of the embryos and were able to study the embryos for up to 19 days. Wow, all right. That enabled the scientists to learn more about how animal cells and human cells communicate, which is an important step toward eventually helping researchers find new ways to grow organs for transplantation and in other animals, Belmont said. Now, before I move on, just to reiterate about when Russia tried, it was specifically for World War II. There was no humanitarian stuff involved. It was just like, hey, if we can get a human mind in an ape, in a gorilla, in a silverback, yeah, that'd be a formidable opponent. Them obviously realizing that, okay, well, you could also get an ape mind in a human, which is, nothing. Anyway, this knowledge will allow us to go back now and try to re-engineer these pathways that are successful for allowing appropriate development of human cells in these other animals, Belmont told NPR. We are very, very excited. Such mixed species embryos are known as chimeras, named for the fire-breathing creature from Greek mythology that is part lion, part goat, and part snake. Sounds like Discord from My Little Pony. Anyway, our goal is not to generate any new organism or any monster, Belmont said, and we're not doing anything like that. We're trying to understand how cells from different organisms communicate with each other. Well, isn't the point of it to go in and get these, monkeys and then use... Anyway, I think the point of it is to try to get that creature organs compatible with humans, so you could tell that. Or grow them in a lab, either or. In addition, Belmont said he hopes this kind of work could lead to new insights into early human development, aging, and the underlying causes of cancer and other diseases. Oh, wow, that's cool. Some other scientists NPR spoke with agree the research could be useful. This work is an important step that provides very compelling evidence that someday when we understand fully what the process is, we could make them develop into a heart or a kidney or lungs, said Dr. Jeffrey Platt, a professor of microbiology and immunology at the University of Michigan, who is doing related experiments but was not involved in the new research. Interesting. This type of scientific work and the possibilities it opens up raises serious questions for some ethicists. The biggest concern, they said, is that someone could try to take this work further and attempt to make a baby out of an embryo made this way. Specifically, the critics worry that human cells could become part of the developing brain, such as an embryo, and the brain of the resulting animal. Should it be regulated as human because it has significant proportion of human cells in it, or should it be regulated just as an animal, or something else? Rice University's Matthews said. At what point are you taking something and using it for organs when it actually is starting to think and have logic? That's a good point. That's a good point. Anyway, moving on. Another concern is that using human cells in this way could produce animals that have human sperm or eggs. Nobody really wants monkeys walking around with human eggs and human sperm inside them. So from what I have noticed, what I have read before, anyone that works at a zoo or works around orangutans can tell you this, that orangutans, they want to mate, and they don't care if their mate is another orangutan or a female human. So if you have a monkey like this that wants to go and overpower a female and do some very not nice things, then that could result in a pregnancy if, those things happen, which is, my God, I don't even know. Oh, my God. Anyway, so that's what Hank Greeley said. Nobody really wants monkeys walking around with human eggs and human sperm inside them. Hank Greeley is a Stanford University bioethicist who co-wrote an article in the same issue of the journal that critiques the line of research while noting that this particular study was ethically done. So this guy, Hank Greeley, is saying, all right, the study was ethically done, but is very, very concerned about it moving forward. Because if a monkey with human sperm meets another monkey with human eggs, nobody wants a human embryo inside a monkey's uterus. I didn't even think of that. Wow, wow. So, moving on. Belmont acknowledges that the ethical concerns, but he stresses that his team has no intention of trying to create animals with part human, part monkey embryos, or even to try to grow human organs in such a closely related species. Then what is the point? I'm sorry. He said his team consulted closely with bioethicists, including Greeley. Now, Greeley said he hopes the work will spur a more general debate about how far scientists should be allowed to go with this kind of research. Quote, I don't think we're on the edge of beyond the Planet of the Apes. I think road scientists are few and far between, but they're not zero. So I do think it's an appropriate time for us to start thinking about, should we ever let these go beyond a petri dish? End quote. And that was, again, Professor Greeley. Yeah, I mean, when he says that, yeah, the rogue scientists are few and far between, but they're not zero, there is a reason why in, like, the CIA or FBI, they have basically like reviews saying, like, oh, okay, well, we have to make sure this person doesn't have a large amount of debt or credit scores, or they need something, because if you need money, then you become open to bribes and open up to betraying your country and betraying whatever. If you have any scientist that needs money or needs whatever, and then some government says, like, hey, do this for us, we'll give you $50,000, $100,000, $500,000, $500,000 again, secret, and that type of money is nothing. So, yeah, they would. I understand that 100%, but I also think that they should be able to have these do it so that they're at the forefront of it, so that when other people try to do this, pretty sure they will, then you're not 5 years behind in research. For several years, National Institutes of Health has been weighing the idea of lifting a ban on funding for this kind of research, but has been waiting for new guidelines, which are expected to come out next month from the International Society for Stem Cell Research. The notion of using organs from animals for transplants has long raised concerns about spreading viruses from animals to humans. So if the current research comes to fruition, steps would have to be taken to reduce that infection risk, scientists said, such as carefully sequestering animals used for that purpose and screening any organs used for transplantation. That was heckin' interesting. Guys, I love you. I just thought that article was really cool. Wanted to read that. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. I love you all. Goodbye. Yeah.